racecourses have failed to meet the minimum standard for weighing room facilities set in November 2021. The standards developed collaboratively by Jockeys, Racecourses and the BHA aim to address long-standing issues. However, only 12 racecourses managed to upgrade their facilities before the original October 2024 deadline. The deadline's now been pushed back to December 2027, leaving the majority of racecourses with facilities deemed inadequate and discriminatory for female jockeys. We have spoken to various different bodies who have given us their thoughts on this, and we can start by taking a look at the RCA statement, the Racecourse Association statement. The RCA and its members have worked closely with the BHA and PJA throughout the weighing room upgrade project. The work will be completed over 3 phases, as approved by the BHA, with regular meetings to review and approve plans taking place between all parties. The revised timeline was agreed in February of this year with our industry partners. Given the scale of the project and significant investment required, we estimate this to be at least 40 million. An important point to make is that all racecourses are operating to, and in many cases, above industry-agreed safeguarding requirements. The most recent deadline to pass, 31st of October 2024, was for racecourses to submit their plans for approval. All racecourses met this deadline with the exception of 2, which require a full rebuild of their facilities. The RCA estimate that 50 of 60 racecourses will have completed all work by December 2027. Megan, you were part of the initial consultation process when you were riding in around about 2020, 2021, and yet there still hasn't been significant change. How disappointed are you personally by that?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I understand that it is a huge cost, but there is also, I think, things that can probably be done in the meantime to help and make it better until all these plans can really be put in place. But at the end of the day, there's plenty of courses that just simply are not good enough. And whether we like it or not, there is more and more female riders coming into the sport, and therefore the facility should be good for the males, it should be good for the females, and there should be a sort of gender neutral area whereby the valets are, and it means no crossing over, no sort of issues with any safeguarding, and we need showers at work. It's quite simple. Things like that are things I believe should be priority and can be done before that deadline. You
mentioned there are things that can be done in the meantime, such as?
Well, like an example is if you're sort of one of the females riding and you can't jump in the shower afterwards because there's no hot water, or
is that the case?
There has been. I'll give an example of Leicester, who have done incredible changes, but for a long time we used to struggle badly. The changing room area, the space was good, and canteen and everything was fine, but you literally just could not have a shower. It was pretty awful. We had plumbers in and out every time. It was a headache for the racecourse. They knew it was coming. In fairness, now they've turned it around and it's great. And they've done an excellent job. But it's not just one course that can have silly problems like that. And, I kind of feel like that isn't a 5-year project. Let's get warm water for all the riders. In other sports, in football, you're not going to jump off the pitch and have to go home in a cold sweat.
We spoke to the BHA as well, and we will show you a PJA statement as well in a moment. But this is what the British Horse Racing Authority had to say. Our jockeys are elite athletes performing in a professional sporting environment, so the facilities they use should be of an appropriately high standard and fair and equal for competitors of all genders. The time taken to bring about change is disappointing. The RCA has set out the reasons for this on behalf of the racecourses, which include the costs that we were just mentioning, in the context of the wider financial situation faced by racecourses and the sport as a whole. The BHA are currently running an audit on racecourses' progress. If there are any areas of concern, this can be addressed through the annual racecourse licensing process, with action to be taken if required. Ruby, it's pretty damning when you hear what Megan's saying there, and it's not okay, frankly.
No, it's not, but you only have to listen to Conor Grant's speech at the Jim Crack dinner during the week, and he basically said racing was paralysed with people with too many self-interests, and regardless of whether you put all the deadlines you want on it, but neither the PJA or the BHA have the power over the racecourses to do anything if they don't meet them. And that ultimately is what it comes down to. It's where most of the problems stem from within horse racing, is that so many people with self-interests are in charge and they do what suits them.
And this is that is a point that we've spoken about for years and years and years, broadly speaking, within racing.
Broadly speaking, but even if they don't meet the deadlines, what do the PGA or the BHA do? They have no power to do anything. You know what I mean? So, what we're having rabbit hole conversation here.
Well, we spoke to the PJA, and this is their statement. A spokesperson from the PJA said this: when this project was first announced in November 2021, it was to be completed by October of this year. Earlier this year, and despite the PJA's objections, the deadline was moved back to December 2027, and the PJA is extremely disappointed that only 12 racecourses upgraded their facilities before the original October 2024 deadline. We do understand that this project comes at a cost, but the reality is that far too long at too many courses, our female members have had to tolerate inadequate safeguarding and discriminatory facilities. It is completely unacceptable that they are still required to enter the male changing room at the majority of racecourses in order to do their job. The whole process has been immensely frustrating, but at least the BHA are now taking seriously the complaints and concerns that we have been raising with them for the last 12 to 18 months. They must ensure that racecourses do the same. The timescales are sped up and interim measures are implemented as soon as possible. We will put a full stop under this, but Megan, I will give you the final word. What would your message be to racecourses in light of all those statements?
Hurry up and be willing to make the changes. Like Ruby said, it's all very well we can say, oh, this is happening, that's happening. Make it happen. It's as simple as that. And I know there was sort of objections about having the valets away from the jockeys, and after they can have fours, they can help, blah, blah, blah. But it needs, there's no question, it needs to happen. There's no way they should be, yeah, absolutely. There's no way the girls should be going into the guys shouldn't be going into the girls. Let's keep them separate. Let's have it professional. You know, we want our sport to be one of the elite. Let's make it that.
Well said. Right, we will